the season 1 finale of the Infrared podcast. I can't believe it's been 57 episodes. It's been ridiculous. Like we've been doing this for like a year and a half now, I'm pretty sure. Like, well, a full year, but then we had like, you know, just a bunch of loose episodes the year before and
that is true.
Everything. But tonight, even though it's 11 o'clock over here, and we had to re-record our episode because we had made a bit of a stuff up, unfortunately. But so we've got SEDA on, Reza from Montana.
Guys.
Oh, have you got the cameras going, Damo?
Yes, I do. Just Discord cam.
No. You press 8. Yeah,
I did press 8.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, we got it. So yeah, there's this guy, as everyone can see. So who are you and what do you do? I always ask it, but you know, what's going on?
Let's hear it from the good old USFA. Keep swapping.
It's early here. It's like 8:15 here. My name is Reza, though, and I go by SEDA. I make experimental bass music. Yeah, man, I'm just a musician. I do it full time, and other than that, I'm pretty boring.
No, don't say you're boring. In my opinion, you're freaking amazing.
Well, we hope we're not boring because we have an hour and a half to kill.
That's it. Yeah, we got to fill some time.
We'll let them be the judge. Hopefully, people won't see me as boring, but I consider myself pretty chill. So.
No, I reckon your fans are going to love this. They get a one-on-one interview with you. So, well, not a one-on-one interview, but they get to witness this.
Yeah,
the man himself.
2-on-1 interview.
2-on-1. 1,000,000 on one.
Yeah, it's
so
the lemon party of interviews, as they say.
The lemon party.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's right, mate.
So, what got you into music and stuff? I mean, I know, like, we did the recording on Saturday night, and then, you know, we're doing it again. But let's go back through it all. Let's go back on this journey. So, what got you into music, and how did you fall into, you know, the experimental bass scene and creating music and producing and DJing and just everything? What happened?
Yes, I mean, I've been into music for, you know, ever since I can remember. I played, you know, bass guitar growing up, and it was always a big focal point of my life. I got into electronic music maybe about like 10 or so years ago. I was about 17 or 18 years old, and I was coming out of like the metal scene. I grew up on the East Coast in DC and Virginia, and the metal scene there was huge. And
that's
after
fucking
coming
sick.
out of that, yeah, man, like it was really cool to grow up around that scene. It was cool. It paved the way for me for sure for the music that I like now. Yeah, from there, I got into electronic music just by hitting some shows. I went to a festival and I got exposed to Pretty Lights, and I remember watching that show and being like inspired. You know, like I felt inspired. I was like, dude, this is amazing. I can't believe his show is this captivating. And from there, it just kind of grew, man.
How was it?
That was how it got started.
How was it captivating in a way? It was just like the performance in a way, or the visuals, or just the music, or
yeah. So it was all encompassing, man. Like that was what I liked about it so much, is that it was not just the audio, which I'd been hearing all day. You know, there was multiple stages, and I would see, you know, different artists that are huge now, and I wasn't really that impressed, you know. And then when I saw Derek play, it was like, you know, like the lasers shot across the Baltimore Harbor and they were hitting the buildings all the way across the river.
Yeah.
And like, you know, he had a drummer with him too, which was a great way to usher in electronic music for me because, you know, I was more of a live musician kind of guy. And yeah, so like it was just like everything I needed to see in that moment, like the visuals, the audio, you know, the drummer with him. He had the break science drummer, and yeah, it just kind of like lit that fire. And then once I saw that, I was like, oh, this is cool. I need to be a part of this scene. I want to go to these shows more. I want to see this more. So, yeah.
And so with that though, it's like, so after all of that, you kind of just fell into the producing to an extent, or like, how did you, like, what were your first steps? Did you try and get some gigs, or did you try and learn how to DJ first, or?
Yeah, actually. So, I started DJing before I started producing, well before I started producing. This is like I said, 10 years ago. And I was just like, you know, I wanted to, you know, be that dude, you know, that guy on stage. And I wanted to be the man. And like, you know, I was
be
like,
the
this
man.
is so cool. The energy, like yeah, the feeling that you get, like commanding a crowd, and just you feel like you want to be a rock star. At least when I started out, I was like, oh, I want to be a rock star, basically. Or at least I had that dream ever since I was younger. So,
that's living the dream, though. Everyone wants to be a rock star. I mean,
yeah, man. Well, at least that's what I thought then, and then I started DJing, and I started going to we used to have renegade raves, raves that are not not at a club or anything.
Were they illegal?
What was it? Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, somewhat. Sometimes they were on private land, and they were camp out festivals that were on private land that they cops couldn't really do anything. We're on private land type shit, and but sometimes they were under bridges. You know what I mean? Sometimes they were I remember going to one rave in DC, and as soon as we got there, it was under this bridge, and we got there and we parked, and all of a sudden there was helicopters with spotlights, and everybody was running, and
no shit,
crazy type shit.
So we don't even we don't get that.
One or anything, but
we barely get anything like that over here. Sure, the cops might rock up, or
there'd be a couple of squad cars.
Yeah, a couple of squad cars and the police dogs or something like that. But you never get helicopters. I'm pretty sure.
You never get copters.
Yeah. Copters, yeah.
Copters.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So then after that, go on though. Sorry, yeah.
Oh no. So. Yeah, I got into DJing. I started going to these raves and these parties, and I would go to these private shows, you call them private shows on private land, but they were big camp out festivals. And I started rubbing shoulders with the promoters and the production teams that throw the shows and stuff. And just through talking and networking and going to the shows all the time, putting myself out there, I was able to start to lock in some gigs, you know what I mean? And I probably maybe even recorded an hour-long set, and then would send it to them, send it to my my homie at the time, Bryce and Jessica. They ran a production company called Slow Kids, and they're actually they started Big Dub Candy Mountain, which is a big East Coast festival here. And but those guys were my friends, and they're still my friends, and they were my friends back then, and they kind of gave me the opportunity to at least see what it felt like to get out and play shows. And I was never anything glamorous. It was opening slots, daytime slots at festivals, things like that. And
still a gig's a gig though.
Yeah, no, it was exposure first off, and at this time it was the infancy of at least the dubstep explosion. So you could be relatively bad and get far. Your music, a lot of my mentors I talk to that have been doing this for 10, 15 years, they'll tell you straight up, they're like, dude, when I was making music to start, it wasn't good. It was just the fact that you could post something on SoundCloud and it would get seen. Anybody would see it. So that's you know what I mean? That's where I was. I wasn't good, and I wasn't, I was just kind of playing gigs here or there. And then from there I went to I had a hiatus for many years where I dealt with addiction and drug abuse and alcoholism. And then after coming out of that, I was living on the East Coast. I decided to get up and move to the West Coast, or close to the West Coast, Montana. Yeah. And
try and restart your life.
Yeah, and that's where my music journey started. Really, I had kind of started to restart my life a couple years before I moved here, which gave me stability to be able to be I'm going to Montana. But yeah, from there, that's where I was kind of wandering, and I was like, what do I do? And I was like, I should get back into music. And I just started messing around again, and it blossomed into one of the loves of my life. You know what I mean? It's just something that I love to do. It's not who I am, but it's what I love, so.
So then with that, what did you actually start on? Was it FL Studio or Ableton?
I actually was introduced to FL Studio from a hip hop friend of mine. He was actually from the Bay Area, and his family moved over to Virginia where I lived, and he showed me FL Studio. He's a really awesome rapper. He goes by Mac Dizo, and he showed me Fruity Loops, and he let me sit down on it, and he let me mess around with it a little bit. And that was my first introduction to a DAW. And then from there, and for those who don't know what a DAW is, a digital audio workstation. It's just your program that you work in. Yeah, I got introduced to FL Studio, so it's really all I knew. And then so when I got back into it, I went for FL Studio. It's just what was familiar for me.
Yeah.
So I love FL though.
Well, honestly, I'm a bit of an FL Studio fan as well. Like, I've tried working on Ableton, and it's not that it's different, but it's a little bit different, a little bit.
It's too different to be familiar.
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
No, I feel you, and I've downloaded Ableton myself and even messed with it just to kind of get familiar. At one point, I was thinking about switching, and I was lucky enough to have one of my teachers be like, "Dude, you know FL so well. Like, why would you take the time to do it?" He was like, "Are you having trouble in FL?" And I was like, "Well, no. I just thought like it'd be better to be on this DAW, but that's just like the furthest from the truth. Everything is translatable. You can do pretty much everything in one DAW that you can the other.
Yeah.
And for me, FL was just more intuitive. Like when I looked at FL, I knew where to go, and I knew right off the bat how to do things. I could just like look at the sequencer and be like, "Oh, this is a sequencer. I know I can sequence my drums here," which I don't do anymore. But but in Ableton, when I got in there, like laying down my drums or laying down a MIDI like on the piano roll, that was just a headache for me. And for some people, it's more intuitive for them, and they get it very easily. So it's really just
it's
what
just
you work with.
Yeah, it's just apples and oranges in a way. It's like, comparing Android to iPhones in a way. It's like if you just use Apple equipment, you're used to Apple. But if you use Android, then you're kind of used to Android. Well, the thing is, what a lot of people forget as well is that
it's their tools.
No, it's not even that though. It's like Afrojack, Tiesto, Martin Garrix for a bit, and I think it was like Armin van Helden as well, all use FL Studio, and they're huge artists. And I'm pretty sure Afrojack sticks by FL. He refuses to actually use Ableton just because he's used to it. It's his brick and mortar kind of thing to an extent. So then with that,
and that's exactly what it is. And I'm sorry.
No, that's all good. So I was going to say, it's like, so what is experimental bass music? Like, how did you fall into that kind of genre and that category in a way?
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, well, no, but it's just like, because like there's drum and bass, and a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm gonna make dubstep. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that."
I've never heard an experimental drum and bass. You know what I mean? I've never heard I never heard anyone go, "I'm gonna make experimental drum and bass."
No, but I know a few people that do try and make experimental drum and bass. Like, shout out to Sub Era, who've come on here a couple of times. But sorry, you go.
I was just going to say experimental just means it's outside the box, what I would call experimental drum and bass is like Noisia, like halftime drum and bass.
Exactly.
Like that.
Yeah.
Like it's not jump up. It's not liquid.
Goddamn jump up.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's funny that that's like that over there as well.
Yeah, like we had a massive phase of jump up for a while, and then it just eventually it's just the same, not the same thing, but it's just very noisy to an extent. It's different. But then go on. Sorry, sorry.
I was just gonna answer his question. Like experimental, experimental, man. It's just like it doesn't have like I just say it doesn't have rules. Like if I want to make like a dubstep tune, I could make a 110 BPM dubstep tune. It's like a heavy dubstep. You know what I mean? Like it's just like you're not following the cookie cutter 140, 150. It could still be like some sort of like could be a halftime track. It could be a dubstep track, it could be a drum and bass track, but you're just not following like what it's supposed to be. Like, oh, I know I need this here. You're doing a lot of stuff that like normally wouldn't be done in that genre. That's really all it is.
Of course.
But that's good though, because you have to kind of go outside the box. You have to think outside the box. You can't we were talking about this on Saturday night, where it's like, it's like with Skrillex. When he made Scary Monsters, Nice Sprites, he literally blew music out of the water, electronic music out of the water, because it was so unique for its time in a way. And that you have to do that. Like,
that would have been experimental at that time,
Exactly, that would have been classed as experimental, and then it became brostep. I'm pretty sure the genre, it actually...
It's called brostep,
Yeah, brostep. Then it's like, where the hell did the name brostep even come from? Just what they labeled it with.
Was it... actually, to say that, actually, was it from at all, like... Was it... became really jockey? Was it became, like, the bros are listening to dubstep? You know what I mean?
Maybe. Yeah. So
because that's the only
thing.
It
is. So it's like over here. I wouldn't say jockey or anything, but it is now. Now it's like real mainstream, like Skrillex and shit.
Yeah.
But like
just making albums
then,
with Diplo.
like when it became brostep, I think it was more like it's like when you went to like big festivals like Electric Forest, like the main people that gravitated towards those stages at that point were like preppier, kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, you know, like the electronic scene in America was underground. It was for the misfits. It was not for. I'm not gonna say it's for because it's for everybody, but it was made up of misfits, and it was made up of rejects, and it was made up of everybody that couldn't find a place as a jock or a punk rocker or a metalhead or whatever the hell it was, or a hip hop kid, and then it started gravitating towards this, like, you know, like the preppy kids were that was dubstep was like, for like, you know, if you go to Electric Forest, it's like it's very mainstream. Everybody looks the same. Everybody's dressed the same. Everybody's like it's weird, you know, like But you know, it's just, you know, I think that's where it came from. I think that's speculation, but I think that's where the bro step thing came in, because then there started to develop this more underground experimental scene underneath that mainstream dubstep shit. Yeah. And like that's where, like, you know, G Jones and E-Prom and all of these wonderful experimental bass music artists came from, is like, well, E-Prom has been doing this way longer than Skrillex. So I mean, like, he's been being weird forever, but now it's become like cool to be weird or something, you know?
Yeah, and E-Prom was, you could say, E-Primed take on the role of being the weird dubstep guy.
Yo, that's a great way to put it, dude. That's exactly what it was.
There you go. Demo's got the goods tonight. So then with that, it's like, how long have you been producing for in total then? Like, have you been producing for quite a while then, or?
So yeah, I mean, like I would say collective time, like maybe like 4 years, because there was probably like a year 10 years ago where I was into it, you know, like there was like a year back in the day where I was like messing around with FL, and I put some, like, you know, put a song or two together that, like, you know, were totally awful, but it was like, you know, I had a little bit of experience. I had no experience with sound design. I had no experience with what a proper arrangement was. I was just totally wandering in the dark. And excuse me. Yeah, like but I got serious about it, you know, like 2.5 years ago, and then that's when I like was like, you know, I made it like a full-time thing, and that's when I really like started to learn about shit, and I started, like, you know, diving deep, you know.
So when you say diving deep and like learning from it, like, did you have, like, I remember you saying on Saturday night you had like a mentor to an extent, or like people to be able to try and like guide you in the right direction to be able to make the right sounds to an extent, in a way? Like, is that what happened?
Yeah, for sure. So I surrounded myself with an awesome team of mentors. One sec.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, that's a big jug.
It's the chug cam. It's the chug cam, bro.
Yeah, the chug cam.
So yeah, like I have a great group of mentors around me, and they weren't showing me how to make the right sounds. They were showing me how to make my sounds. That's the best. That's why my mentors are so awesome, is because they encourage me to do me, and they're like, dude, I want you to do you. I just want it to sound professional. You know, I want it to, from an engineering standpoint, it needs to be like that. So like I was like, you know, like, and the mentors that I have are through the Defier Society. It's a school that I'm a part of. I'm a student of, and I work for. And
they're local, aren't they? To us, to an extent.
Yeah, there's a couple of Aussie guys in there, actually.
Yeah,
one of our former guests.
We have lots of Australian homies there, and we have people all over the world. Lots of French homies, English homies, like all over the world. We got students, and it's primarily based out of the two owners live in LA and Perth.
Yeah.
And Jackson Brown and Alex Defier. And,
yeah, shout out to Axon if he's going to be watching when we do this live. I mean, I've met him a couple of times. He's a really good dude, and I can't believe how far he's come. He's taken the world by storm. He gets his music played by Excision and stuff, doesn't he? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he just released a tune on Excision's label.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, dude, he's signed to Circus Records, which is Flux Pavilion's label. So, you know, I mean, he's like, you know, in all intents and purposes, made it, you know, as like being a full-time musician, and
well-known name,
to do what he loves. Yeah, and you know, he's been huge. He's been a huge help for me, man. He was the first. Him and Alex were the first two people it was just them when they started this thing. It was just them, and they would randomly be, I don't know if it was random, but it seemed random that they would just be in like different EDM Facebook groups, and they would be giving feedback. They would be live streaming feedback, and like that's how I met them. And there was like the Defier Society was called Freelance Musicians Course, and it was like you could pay over time, but it was like $1,200, and you got all this video content on like ways you could make money being a musician. You know, whether it's through DJing at gigs or selling sample packs or whatever the hell it was, mixing and mastering tunes for people. It was like that. It was geared towards that, which I was like, and this was like the infancy of my like journey, and I was like, oh my god, like I like this is some direction I need this, and I signed up for it, and I got the package, and through that they were like, you know, really nice, and like all the people that got that initial package, they grandfathered into the new program with all these amazing instructors. So like all of like the original like 100 homies that signed up for this, like, which I remember some of these guys that we've been there together the whole time, we're like, we all got to join for free now. They hooked it up. They're really nice guys, man. Yeah. Just to sum it up.
That's so good though, because then it's like it's a community. It's a good community by the sounds of it, and they're helping each other. You know, that's what you got to do. Like you got to be humble. You got to be nice, and you got to be all about, you know, just sharing the love in a way, right? So with that though, it's like, so you started doing that. You paid for the package, and then like they've really helped you along your way and like helped you progress in doing it the whole lot, right?
Yeah, for sure. They like, I mean, like from, like I said, from sound design to mixing and mastering to just like the biggest help to me has been like the navigation. I think I said before when we recorded that like when you jump into production, you're like a ship without a compass. You know what I mean? Yeah, and like you're like in the middle of the ocean, and you don't know which way to head to get to land. You know what I mean? And land being whatever your first goal is, you know what I mean? And you're just like, dude, I don't know how to get there. And having like people that have taken the wrong routes and sailed all across the world and know that if you go this direction, you'll sail forever. Like they're the ones that you need in your corner telling you not to go those routes so that you can get where you need to go as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible without, you know, wearing yourself down.
Honestly, that sounds amazing. Like, shout out to the Defier Society. That sounds so good, because that's the thing. It's sometimes you can just get lost in it. Sometimes you just don't. As you said, it's like you're a ship without a compass.
Yeah, you get lost in the shores.
Like, well, you start making music, but you just don't know where to take it. You don't know how to do this. You don't know how to do that. You can learn from YouTube videos or free content, but actually having like
hit the walls.
Yeah, well, that's it. Then you will hit the wall. Yeah, and then but if you have a mentor,
or you don't know if the YouTube thing is teaching you the correct thing, you know what I mean? Like you could watch hours and hours of tutorials, and they could be leading you down this terrible path.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I spent bloody I think it was like 7 months every single night watching a tutorial before bed on FL Studio, and then trying to like, you know, I learned all the shortcuts and I tried to learn the sound design, but I couldn't figure out how to actually make a simple 8-bar loop to an extent, because it's just like you get so caught up in it. But then with that, like, how long did it take for you to like complete your first track then, in a way?
I'm like, so man, I'm not gonna lie, dude, like I've never had a problem with finishing tracks. It's just the amount of time that it took me to do it. You know what I mean? Like, but like I when I met Alex, I already had tracks written. And I just started. I had whole tracks that I thought were whole, but they like, you know, they had sections that dragged on. You know, he was like, dude, you could cut this whole section out. You could, you know, like, I'm not sure, you know what I mean? Like all sorts of shit, you know what I mean? Like, but they were completed, you know what I mean? Like they had like an intro and a build and a drop, and you know what I mean? Like, and I just referenced like what I was listening to. I was like, what is this? I literally, when I first heard of call and response, so call and response is like one sound talking to the other one. So it's like this sound makes a noise, and then it's like the other one, you know what I mean? And like when I first, like before I had ever heard of that, in my head, I called it the big noise, little noise. I'd be like, oh, they start out with a really big loud noise, and then they have a response noise, which I didn't call it a response noise. I just called it the little noise. I was like, and they have one that's not so big. You know, they have a big one, and then they have an interesting one. They have a big one, and then, you know what I mean? And like, yeah, so, but yeah, like I don't know where the fuck I was going with that. I sidetracked. Sorry.
You're talking about how you were just basing it off what you even knew, like what you just assumed was how you create a song, and it'd just be this, like it'd be like a 15-minute plotting thing because you're throwing, basically just throwing everything against the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, kind of. And I mean, like that's what I would say. And like but I was like, what we were talking about is I was completing tracks. I didn't really have like the oh shit, like I've got this 16-bar loop, but I don't know what to do with it kind of thing. I just never really had that. And when I talk to people now, and they do have that, I have great techniques to fix it, because the same technique that fixes that is the same technique that I use to fix writer's block, which I don't use it anymore. But when I started out, it was like so helpful. And it's like, and Jackson taught me this actually, and this is like this helped me so much to get structure down. And if you're having that trouble where you have an 8-bar loop and you can't even make an 8-bar loop, or you don't know what to do with your 8-bar loop, then you can take a track that you like, you take, something that's inspiring you right now, you figure out the BPM of it, and let's say it's 140, you drop it in your DAW, you set the BPM to 140 so that the kick and the snare and everything match up with the grid. And then you just map out just the kick and the snare. And don't even like worry about sample selection. Don't find the kick you like first. Just grab any kick and any snare and map out the kick and the snare of the entire track. Like for me, I did that, and then I would just leave the track in there and mute it so that I could reference it, if I needed, but I just muted it. And then I had this canvas to work with, and I have a full song in front of me. Yeah. You know what I mean? With the kick and the snare, and then I could just fill in the blanks. And I'm like, okay, well I see, and it teaches you structure as well and arrangement, because you see, oh, okay, he has a 32-bar intro or 16-bar intro, and this is a 32-bar drop, and then it goes back into it. You see everything out in front of you, and you're like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. And after doing that like 3 or 4 or 5 times, I didn't even need it anymore. I had my structure down, I had everything I needed down, and I was just like, let's go. Like, what I mean?
See, that's one of the biggest issues that I actually faced, was like just trying to find structure. I mean, obviously 16, 32 bars, but how to actually work that out in a way. That's so good though, to be able to, I never thought of it like that, to actually do the kicks and the snares and do the drum roll, but then just mute it and then just have it there so you have like a guide to follow in a way. It's like perfect tips for the beginners. This is wonderful.
Hopefully you can play that later tonight.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. So then after that, like what were you going to say, sorry?
My dog. It was my dog, sorry.
That was all good. So
if he's being noisy, let me know and I'll kick him out of the room.
No, we can't even hear her.
Yeah, we can't hear her.
Okay, good. Cool.
She can be the logo for tonight's episode.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he can be the sassy for tonight. So with that, how many tracks have you released so far then? Because your first track was like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, you said, right? Or 2.5 years ago?
Yeah, like, so when I first started, it was about 2.5 years ago. I probably was like writing a good I was probably writing for like, maybe 6 months before I got like hooked up with the Fire and stuff. So it was like, maybe 3 years ago I started writing again. I think I have like, shoot, man, I don't know, because it's hard for me. I can't look at my SoundCloud while I'm signed in, because then it just shows me all of the tracks I have. But I would say like released tracks, shit, man, like at least 24, or like I don't know, maybe like anywhere from 20 to 30, maybe, I think, because I know that I've like for the past year I've written more than a track a month. So like I'm not sure what's released. But
still, that's so good to be able to write more than one track a month. Like, I mean, I couldn't, it took me like 2 months to try and write one track, and just like get so bogged down and just couldn't make it work. But that's so impressive. Like you were saying as well on Saturday night, it's like, takes you between like what, 15 to 20 hours to finish a song sometimes.
Yeah, you said if it takes more than 2 days, you delete it. You delete it and just start again because it's just not worth it.
If it takes more than 20 hours, like if it takes more than like 25 hours, like if it's at the end of writing, if that's at the end phase, like, and it's like in a mixing phase, like, and I need to, hash some shit out, I'll spend a little extra hour or something like that. But if it's like, if I'm stuck on a track, like, like if it's just not inspiring me, if I leave the project and I'm hanging out and I'm like thinking in my head, I don't know where to go with this. Like, it's not really like, I'm not like, when I leave a project and I'm ready already when I leave it to do the next thing, if that makes sense. Like, I'll go to bed at night knowing what I have to do in my project the next day. That's the best feeling, because you have a direction and you're like ready to go. But if I don't have that, I'm like scrapping it. I'm out of there. But when I was starting out, and this is like super important, like it is what you were saying. Like I set a time limit when I was starting out of like 21 hours, and if it didn't produce results in that time, I would scrap it for parts and move on to the next track. And that's what I would do.
So then with that as well, how did you get signed to a few labels and stuff like that? Like to have 24, 25 like official releases, that's so impressive. But they're all signed to a label to an extent, right?
No, I self-release a lot of stuff. I have like label releases. I have like releases with Producer Dojo, which is Il Gates' label, and I have releases with Obscure Collective, who are like amazing guys, and they put out like they shoot above their weight. You know, they won't put out bullshit. They put out really good music. And Bad Kill Records. Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's a few others that I've released with Subsiety. They're awesome. But
well, shout out to those guys.
Most of my stuff. Yeah, hell yeah. Those are all really great crews, and they're really helping the underground and upcoming artists, you know, get known and get seen. But yeah, like I've self-released most of my stuff. And like, yeah, I don't know, like I've released a track every single month for at least a year. So I know that there's at least 12 released, you know, minimum. Yeah. But like I have a bunch more stacked up, you know, like I try to like get ahead of the game. Like at the beginning of Corona, I remember I did it was called a Corona Creative Challenge, and it was held by a really well-known producer named Shishi. He does like pop music and like kind of like world music, and he's an amazing person and a really good mentor. And he just held it like you know, through his own personal account, and he and I wrote, and the challenge was to write a track a week for 6 weeks. So you get 6 tracks done in 6 weeks. And like, I remember being so amped, and like, I remember Corona shut us down so hard that I was like, dude, I don't got nothing to do. I can sit here. I work from home, so I can focus and I can write. And I wrote 3 tracks in the first week. And like, I just was like, I felt so good to get ahead of the game. Like, where I was like, oh my God, now I have 3 tracks. This is potentially the next 3 months of releases for me. It took the stress off of me to where I could create more, you know? Yeah. And that was a good feeling. So I always try to get ahead, man. Like I write as much as you can. I tell people and get your workflow down to where you can crush out a track a week and potentially write 4 tracks in a month. You know, I know there's work and there's life and stuff too. So maybe you don't get 4 tracks, but you can easily get 2 tracks done. You know, if you can write a track a week, then a track every other week is easy. You know? Yeah.
But that's exactly it. I was actually telling, I kind of taught someone a bit how to DJ today, and I was actually telling her, it's like, unless you keep at it, then it's like, you know, if you take a year, 2 years off from DJing or producing, when you try and go back into it, then, you know, it's like you're rusty to an extent. Your cogs are kind of rusty, and to try and get the ball moving and actually start making music again, you know, you kind of have to fall back into it in a way, and it's practice to be able to get back to where you were. Would you agree with that to an extent, where it's like, you know, you have to keep at it?
Yeah, so like learning a language. Like, you can't stop after 6 months because you just you forget a lot of words, mate.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, and it's to an extent, like, of course, like, you know, the curve at which it takes you to get back to where you were will be quicker. You know what I mean? But 100% there's going to be a curve. You know, like, I know for a fact that last year. And again, this is like, I've only been doing this seriously for like 2.5 years or so. So last year was only like a year and a half in, you know what I mean? So I was like, I was like, a year ago, I was so far behind to where I am now. And like last year I stopped for like 2 weeks or something to go for vacation, to go visit family and shit for Christmas. And getting back into it took me another 2 weeks easily when I got back. Like, really? It took me like, yeah, man, just 2 weeks off, like, fucked me up. And I was like, this year, I was like, even when I go home, like, to visit, I'm going to sit on my computer for an hour every day while I'm there, and I'm going to make sure that I stay fresh and that, you know what I mean? Like, because, dude, fuck a year. If I took a year off, I don't know what the hell would happen.
Yeah, but that's it. You just have to keep, just grind it out again.
You come back to like, what the fuck's FL? What do they even stand for back in the day?
Yeah, fruity.
It was like fruity.
Loops? Let's play. Yeah. So then with that as well, so then how important would you say the networking and the socializing is as well? Like, I mean, sure, you can go and produce music and stuff like that, but to get your name out there, how important would you say it is to, like, really try and, you know, get it out there
Yeah.
to an extent.
Networking, man, like it's so like production. Well, I'm not gonna say production, but being a musician is a multifaceted thing. Which involves production, networking, marketing, branding. You know, like all of this shit, which is networking, marketing. But like, yeah, you know, like it's a multifaceted thing. And this day and age, where we're in a saturated market where there's just tons of people that are making good music, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people on my level right now, you know, like that I'm not saying that I make really great music. I'm saying like I'm on the lower tier and there's like, I'm on a much lower tier, you know what I mean? Like, and there's a lot of people we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all on this tier together. You know what I mean? Like there's this huge, you know, like tier of artists that are working as hard as they can right now to make the best music that they can. And because of that, it's saturated. You need to stand out. And like the way you stand out is through your networking, is through your marketing, is through your, you know what I mean? Your branding and all this shit that like, if you want to be on that next tier, you know, you want to make it to the next tier, you know, like go from not having a name on a festival flyer to being the small name on a festival flyer, which is like what I'm working on. Like you got to stand out. You have to have a narrative. You have to be telling a story. You have to have this all in mind because, you know, what is going to make you stand out from the rest? What is going to make you, you know, in the sea of people, what it makes you the Waldo? You know what I mean? Like how can you be the easy one to spot? You know what I mean? Well, he's not really easy to spot. I guess that's the game. It's a bad analogy.
Yeah. What flag are you hoisting that makes everyone else know you're the pirate, not the fuck with?
Yeah. So networking. So back to what you're saying. So networking is extremely important. And networking with your peers, along with networking with industry executives and professionals and you know what I mean? Like all of this is important. Like I'm not gonna lie, dude. I try to add like every time I see like an artist and I know their personal account, I just add them. And I mean, if they add me, they add me. But if not, it opens the door to where we can start seeing each other's posts and we can like, you know, I can start to like communicate with them and just be friendly in an organic way. You know what I mean? Without being like a weirdo and messaging them and being like, hey, collab, bro. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, see, that's actually what I've had to do with the podcast to an extent as well, where it's like I'll see, I've heard of people out in the scene or heard of people playing here and there. I'll add them on Facebook and then I'll try and be like, you know, try and hopefully be like, you know, check out the podcast. Yeah,
exactly.
So that way I can actually message them after a certain period of time and be like, well, have you seen it? Hopefully they've seen it. Do you want to come on? Yeah. And then that way it's like they've already got the reference in a way. Yeah, instead of, well, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, like, it's better than like guys on Soundcloud. Like, literally in the comment sections, be like, collab, bro, collab. Yeah, that's it. And then just like typing into the comment section.
How important as well would you say it is for like to pair the DJing with the producing? Because like, would you say you're more of a producer than a DJ to an extent, or?
I mean, like, okay, so for me, like my buddy Danny, like, yeah, he goes by Nick Gray. He's like an OG, and like he's been in the scene for a while. He toured with Pretty Lights and all sorts of shit. He's a really awesome guy. He was saying like, oh, I'm sorry, what was the question again, really quick?
I was just saying where it's just like, you know, to pair the DJing skill with the producing skill.
Oh yeah.
Like, would you say it's more important to focus on your producing so you can get your name out there with your own unique music, or would you say it's like important to also level up in the DJing area so that way you can try and give a unique experience when you go out and play a show to an extent, in a way?
I do. Like, I think that production is okay. So production is going to take you around the world. You know what I mean? Like it's going to take you wherever you want to go. You know what I mean? Like if you get your music and your branding and everything to a point, it's going to take you where you want to go. Now, when you get there, you got to know how to fucking play. You got to know how to DJ.
That's it, right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, and like my buddy Danny, like this is what I was gonna say is like he always said, he was like, dude, I'm a producer, I'm not a DJ, but he is a producer. He's not a DJ, which is why he just runs his shit through Ableton and he plays hour-long sets of all original music, you know, and he tells a story through his original music. And so like in that sense, he is DJing his music, but he's not up there mixing other people's tunes, and he's not, you know what I mean? He's not chopping tracks. He's not double rinsing. He's not, you know what I mean? He's just telling the story. That's what I personally like to do, but I also do that with other people's tunes. Like my sets, I don't mix on the fly, like in the sense that like I'm picking songs at random. All of my sets are like this song into this song into this song. Like I know what order I'm going to go in, you know, and I set all that up beforehand, whether it's with other people's music or my music. So I do DJ out other people's music. I like that. But, yeah, like I think it's very important, but I think there is a distinction, and I think both of them are all right. And like I have friends that just DJ here in Bozeman, and like, you know, they DJ at bars and stuff like that, and that's fine too. It's just, what do you want to do with it? Is it your income? Is it your passion? Is it, where do you want to go? You know what I mean? Like, so if you want to go around the world, like I said, I think production is what's going to take you there. But again, when you get there, you have to be able to know how to make things sound good so that people don't like, you know, like
walk out of the bar.
It's like, I want to get the fuck out of here. Yeah,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's exactly it to an extent. Like, I 100% agree with that, because that's the thing. You got to get your production actually up to scratch, and like actually really produce some good tracks, get your name out there, and then go out and play the shows. And like once you're playing the shows, then you have to like captivate them. Yeah, that's a really good answer.
I went a different way about it. Even like I went the other way. Like I started DJing first again, because like most people want to be the guy on stage. Most people want to be that dude, and the quickest way to be that dude is to learn how to DJ. You know what I mean? And that's just like, I'm telling you that it's just like with 9 times out of 10 what people are thinking when they start. They're like, oh, I'm going to learn how to DJ first because I want to. And I know that because I thought that, and that's how I was. You know what I mean? And maybe that's projecting a little bit, but I think that there is a good fair amount of people that do have that thought in their head. And even producers, man, even producers nowadays, they want to produce so that they can be that dude. Yeah. You know, and like I left that shit a while ago, like, and I produce now because I want to make people feel something. Like I want to, you know, make them feel inspiration. I want to make them feel, you know, like, like I said before on Saturday, like when I go see like G Jones or Sayer or Ableation or some shit like that, or Zeke Beats, the whole time I'm there, I'm so inspired that I can't wait to leave and go home and write music. And like that to me is more important than being on the stage. And a great example of this is Tipper. Tipper will play his sets off to the left of the stage. He doesn't even come on stage. He's just sits over there with a table and lets everybody focus on the visuals and the lights and everything and the music. And not the person on stage. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't give a fuck about being the guy on stage. And like, and I'm about that now. Like, dude, like I'm more so about like creating an atmosphere and a feeling, and you know what they say today, a vibe. You know, everybody.
Yeah.
So like, I want to create a vibe, dude, you know, and like that's just how I look at it.
Well, once again, I agree with you as well. Like that's what I kind of say over here to an extent, where it's like, you know, if you go to a bar or a club or a venue or wherever, it's like you got to analyze, what are the people like, what's the vibe like, what's the music like, what's the atmosphere like, what's the bar look like? You know, is the bar falling apart or is it new? And you know, like you know, like what's the drinks and the food and what services are provided? You know, are the staff nice? Are the staff assholes? Like, you know, what the go is, and that's what, you know. All it takes is for one person to have. If someone has a bad time in your venue, they're probably not going to come back. But if they have a good time, then they'll walk past and be like, well, last time I was there was great, so I'm going to go back and go hang out. But you have to ensure, you know, that vibe is there to an extent, because that's like the part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So then with that as well, like with the DJing and stuff like that, you said it was an oversaturated market, because you guys got a population of like
320 million.
320 million people that live there. But then, like, what would you say for someone breaking out into the industry as a DJ? Like the do's and the don'ts when trying to get gigs in a way, would you say, from your experience?
You know, like the biggest thing that I see for me is people like, you know, if somebody like if they have a tiff with somebody, or if somebody doesn't book them or something like that, they take it personally. You know, and don't take to social media. If you take something personally, especially, like, don't go on there and be like, oh, screw this promoter because this, and that, blah, blah, blah. Because, like, you're trashing your local scene for whatever it is. Maybe they suck. You know, maybe they do suck. And, like, and if they're doing something, like, wrong, like, you should definitely let people know. But if they just didn't book you because they didn't like your mix or something, you know what I mean? Like, don't, like, act like a little bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so like, you know, that's a big thing I see, and I just want to be like, I just want to tell them to shut up and just be like, you know, just you know, take it with a grain of salt. perfect your craft more and jump back in and try again, man.
Yeah.
And like some tips that I like, one tip that I heard that I always thought was really cool was like, don't ever like you don't want to be the guy that hands somebody your mix. You know what I mean? Like you like if your friend goes up to somebody and is like, dude, you should listen to this like this is my homie, and like you don't even have to be there with them. Preferably you're not there with them. You know, like but if your homie goes up to like a promoter and is like, dude, my friend Reza mixes and like his mixes are really dope. You should check this out. It's more likely that they're going to check it out. They still might not book you if your content isn't good and your mixing sucks. You know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? Like it's just like things like that being like, I don't know, passive in a way. Like don't be too aggressive. I mean, like you do want to be aggressive and you do want to put yourself out there, but you know what I mean? Like I said, like you don't want to rub them the wrong way. Like that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, you don't want to make the wrong first impression because first impressions, as they say, are everything, you know? And so like just think about that. Think about like what your first impression is going to be with this person. Like one of the ways that I got into the production, like playing for the production company that I play for here, Moonlight Productions. And those guys are awesome. They throw like the most professional shows in Montana, in my opinion. Like, you know, they have PK sound. They have like, you know, like legit. Everything is legit, dude. Everything is legit. Like everything is how it's supposed to be. I love those guys. Shout out to them. But they fuck, I lost my train of thought gassing them up.
You were talking about you want to be the guy giving them the mix. You want to be the guy like you want to be able to
how I got in with them.
Yeah.
How I got in with them. So so the way I got in with them was I was throwing a free show with my buddy Tyler, and it was at a bar that lets you throw shows for free. But they get half of the
alcohol sales.
Yeah, so it's really cool. Like they don't charge you anything to throw a show there, and they just take half of the bar. So you still get half the bar, and like if you charge something at the door, you know what I mean? Like you get the door fee too. So like we didn't charge anything at the door; it was free. People came, and we hired. I talked to the Moonlight guys, and we hired them to come in and provide a small PK setup. And some lasers and shit like that. And I opened, you know, I was one of the openers. It was like me and somebody else opened. Like, I can't remember if I played first or second, but I opened and I played a set with maybe like one, maybe two original tunes. Everything else was like just DJing. But my taste was appealed to them. You know, what I was playing appealed to them, and they asked me to play a show. You know what I mean? They were like, hey, if you want to play a show for us sometime, we would love to. Just send us a mix. You know, we want to hear a mix first. And I was like, yeah. So like, you know, like I kind of like, and I ended up, you know, I paid them. So like I kind of invested, and this is important to like invest in yourself. Scared money doesn't make money. You know what I mean? Like you have to invest in yourself. And like this, while I didn't look at it as an investment at the time, now this is a great strategy for an investment. Find a sound company, a production company in your town, and like hire them for something and play. You know what I mean? The sound guys will be there and they'll be watching you and blow it out the park. You know what I mean? Really wow them. You know what I mean? And that's a great way to get your foot in the door. That's what I did.
That's awesome though, because that's similar to over here as well. It's like, you know, when you go and play a show, if you go up there and you have a great time and you just turn the whole place into an absolute rave, well, then you're more than likely going to be invited back. I have to ask as well, how important is it to actually like to get when you get booked to bring people along in a way? Because like, so for sometimes over here, it's like, because we were also discussing this on Saturday night when we did the other recording, but it's like when you go to get booked, when you're trying to get into the scene, usually what will happen is like, can you guarantee, you know, 40, 50, 60 people through the door to come support you? Because it's like, you know, it's about bringing that vibe in a way and getting door sales and making the whole thing. Because even like, as you said before, like, you know, you were so lucky to be able to get a venue for free and they just take half a drink sales. Fortunately, that doesn't really happen over here anymore. Like it happens sometimes, but it's very, very rare. Usually it'll be like, they'll ask for like, I'm pretty sure like a set price and then a percentage of the door sales or a percentage of, you know, drink sales or whatever, but you still have like a deposit to put down to an extent in a way.
Yeah.
So then
I mean, that's how most of it is over here.
Yeah. But then with that, so would you say it is like when you're trying to break out into the scene, it is about bringing a crew down to an extent to try and promote and you know, get your name out there in a way?
It's one way to do it. You know what I mean? Like it's one way to do it. It's just the way that like I fell into it because I was fortunate enough to have like, you know, that everything just kind of clicked at one time where like my friend was like, let's throw this free party, or we have this bar, oh, you know what I mean? Like we'll hit up Moonlight. You know what I mean? Like it's just like you have to like work with what's in front of you. I mean, like the biggest thing is like putting yourself out there, go out to the shows. Go like when you go to the shows, like, you know, like don't be weird about it, but kind of like, you know, casually ask like who throws these shows. Be like, oh, it's Moonlight Productions. Like, well, who's Moonlight? And they'll be like, oh, and somebody will point up like, oh, it's that guy and that guy right there. They own it. I was like, oh man, they own this sound system. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like, do recon. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's it. Yeah. You
gotta like put the feel. If you're sitting at home and like you're producing all the time, you're not gonna like it's. You're not going to get the shows. Like if you want to get out there and you want to start DJing and you want the experience, which I highly recommend, like I highly recommend putting yourself out there and going and getting, even if it's just opening slots for 10 people, 20 people, 50 people, like do that to get the experience because it's nerve wracking. You know what I mean? Like it's nerve wracking to walk in front of 500 people, or you know what I mean? Like 200 people, 300, like I let alone 50,000. You know what I mean? Like some of these artists do. Like it's nerve wracking, dude, and you need preparation. And well, not everybody, but a lot of people do. You know, some people walk in there with like no problem at all. They're just like Ill Gates is like that. Like I talked to him about it. He's like, I don't get any anxiety. I don't have no anxiety. I just poop. Like let's go. Like and. But yeah, like me on the other hand, and some of the other artists I know, like it's like pre-show anxiety and like the feeling because it's a feeling. You know what I mean? Like it's a physical feeling.
This is a good segue into like the whole thing about anxiety and like going on stage and stuff like that. Like, do you ever get butterflies when going out and playing a gig, or when you're like gonna do something at like play?
Butterflies are an understatement. Yeah, like sometimes like. And it's weird because it's like random. Like some shows are worse than others, but I've tried to like pinpoint as to why maybe like this show is more anxious for me. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's because I'm opening for a bigger artist, or whatever. But it's not. Like it's funny because I played at my friend's wedding, and like I had like my anxiety was so bad there. I had to like stand up and like leave the people I was talking to and go into this cabin and lay in this dark room in a bed and just lay there until I played. I was just like, yeah, I was just like, I just had to lay there and breathe and, just meditate kind of and try to stay present and not like, and it's weird, man. It's a weird feeling. It's a weird sensation. And so, yeah, I get butterflies. I get anxious. I get physically anxious. What helps is like, eating, and this is all stuff that like, and like what you eat. For me, I found a comfort food that like I can always eat before a show is tacos, and like or like sushi. Like just I don't know why. Just,
that was sushi and tacos are a good choice though.
Yeah, like so like it's something that like I noticed one time where I was anxious, and when I went and I was like, man, because when I'm anxious, I'm not hungry at all. But I was like, well, I need to eat something. What am I going to eat? And I just like I was like passing a taco truck or something, and I stopped and I was like, I could eat tacos. Like I felt like I could just eat tacos, even though I was anxious. I was like, I could eat tacos right now. So I ate like a spicy pork taco or two, and it was the weirdest thing. I could feel the anxiety lessen. I could feel it like it wasn't a lot, but maybe like 15%. It was less intense, and like so eating helps, and what you eat helps, and not eating like a bunch of sugary bullshit. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. Limit your caffeine. That's for me at least.
I'm exactly the same as well to an extent. Like Red Bull's one thing. Sometimes I have to go out, and when I'm so tired from the night before, I'll have a Red Bull just to like wake me up a little bit. But if I have coffee, it literally gives me anxiety. I don't know what it is, but like I have two. Yeah, like it jittery and just makes me just so self-conscious of what's going on. It's just how it happens, unfortunately.
You're wired, man.
Yeah, well, that's it. But coffee is a drug. That's what people do sometimes forget.
It's caffeine.
Yeah, caffeine. Like, yeah. So then with that as well, so it's like, oh shit,
That's why the Mormons don't drink it.
Is that why the Mormons don't drink it, huh?
Yeah, the Mormons can't touch it. Isn't that right? There's a lot of Mormons in Montana, bro.
Yo, let's actually get
not Montana, but
let's get an insight actually into Montana, because this is one thing I really wanted to talk about. Like, Is it hot over there? Is it cold? Like, what's it like actually over in Montana? It's just like bushland in a way, right? Because it borders on Canada, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Can you look all that up, Jamie, please?
Yeah, Montana actually, like, I think it means mountain.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like a lot of mountains over there, bro.
But does it snow as well?
Like
or?
Oh yeah, like it's cold. Most of the year, 6 months out of the year, you can usually see snow on the ground. It's mountainous. It's beautiful. You can see right there. Like I live in the valley, surrounded by some of those mountains. If you look up the bridge, or Bozeman is where I live, but the Bridgers is the mountain range that like is one of the mountain ranges that surrounds us. And I lived at the
That's
base
incredible,
of this mountain.
mate.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, when I moved here, I lived with my friend's mom, and I lived like right up like at the base of that mountain. And it was like awesome. I'd like take a piss every morning and look out the window, and the mountains were there, and I'm like, oh shit. Cool.
I am naked. I am looking at the mountain. I'll be right back.
This is Mother Nature.
But yeah, it's cold up here. The summers are beautiful though, and I don't mind the cold. It's a different cold. I come from the East Coast. It's very wet.
Yeah,
you're right next to the ocean and everything, so it's very humid, and like it's like it can be 30 degrees in Virginia, and it's not as cold to me as 5 degrees here. I can be outside in just a long sleeve shirt if it's sunny out and 10 degrees. I grill outside in the snow, so like it's not that bad. It's just really it's still and it's dry. It's a high desert, so it's like. Yeah, it's an interesting land, man. There's moose and rams, and I mean, you guys got crazier shit out there than us. Like when I talk about, like, oh man, we got moose and shit. You're like, we have spiders like this, bro.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. What are those spiders called again? Out there, the
huntsman spiders.
Nah, huntsmans are one thing.
we got orb weavers as well.
Orb weavers.
You got orb weavers.
Can you look them up?
I will.
Yeah. And then also, what's the other one?
We
It's
have
like the
orb weavers,
Hercules
but orb
spider or
weavers are
something.
smaller.
What part?
What's the big one where it's like the Hercules spider, or
Yeah, I know
like the
what you're talking
sand ones or whatever they
Yeah,
are?
Or the
ones that, like-
Goliath. It's like
Yeah,
a
the Goliath or whatever. Can you
spider.
also look them up as well?
Sure, yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
can you look up a map of America to also find out where it is, Montana?
I know,
on the
yeah,
map?
of course, man.
So then, with that as well, like I mean,
Yeah,
sure, we've got snakes and spiders, we've got deadly animals and stuff.
We have and
great white
we got
sharks.
camels. We actually have the most camels in the world.
Really? Do we have the most camels
We have the
in the
most
world?
camels in the world.
Australia? Or?
Because they're a
That's
pest.
awesome.
Because they're a pest. Well, no, they breed like rabbits. We also have rabbits here.
Yeah.
We have more camels in Saudi Arabia.
Really?
So, yeah.
That's hectic.
We're the number one country in the world for that.
Camels are
And they're
awesome.
huge. They're 3 meters tall, man. They're like the moose. They're like moose, and they look very wacky.
Yeah. I mean, they're like really resilient though, and they're just strong animals, man. Like they're
Yeah.
cool animals.
Yeah, if you hit them with a
Moose.
car, man, they walk
camels.
away.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah.
These bad boys. These
Oh, I
Australian
hate
Goliath
spiders. Oh my god, that is
Yeah, it's
huge.
huge, man.
I didn't even know we had those.
Yeah, we got those.
insane.
That's
I've seen them.
terrifying.
They're pretty
Yeah, we
big.
got those. Is
Holy-
it worst on the western side or the eastern side for like?
I'm pretty sure it's the western
wildlife?
side.
Like, is it all over?
No.
No?
Sydney actually has.
Where you guys are.
Sydney, we're in the west. We're west for WA. Sydney has the most, has more poisonous spiders. They have what's known as the funnel web spiders, which are the most poisonous in the world. Pretty sure. We also have redback spiders.
Put on your camera when you're talking.
You're right.
Instead of just like, it's just on me. There we go. Damo.
There it is, number 5.
There we go. So now we're both on, yeah.
I was just saying was we got in Australia we have in Victoria, New South Wales. All wrong. They have funnel web spiders. Like what they do is they have like when they weave their webs, it's almost like a cone. It's a very 3-dimensional. It's not 2D, and that's what sucks you in. But it's extremely poisonous. It's the most poisonous in the world. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
They're more poisonous than redbacks. And redbacks actually put my brother in the hospital for 2 days when he got bit.
Really? Oh
Yeah,
my
man.
god, dude!
And they're
That's
tiny. Those
They're
things
tiny.
they're ridiculous.
They're
Pull up
tiny, man.
redbacks.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
we
that's the
have black
thing.
widows here, and that's like that. We also have like brown recluse, like not in Montana, but
Well,
in
are they
the
the
US.
hobo spiders, right? And they leave
We
a
have
scar.
well, we have hobo spiders in Montana, but hobo spiders are different than brown recluses. Like brown recluses will like when they bite you, it'll eat your arm away.
I've heard
Like,
that.
like-
Yeah.
Oh, they're the
They
ones
leave
that
a
actually eat your
permanent-
skin, right?
Yeah, they leave a
Yeah,
permanent
yeah.
scar,
Yeah.
and they
But-
look like
but,
nasty buggers, man. Look at those things.
Yeah, the hobo spiders
Jesus.
though, they don't actually.
Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah. dude.
Damn.
Yeah,
Well, here we
the
go.
hobo-
Here's a hobo. This is the brown recluse.
Oh my god,
it's
I
tiny.
hate spiders. Oh.
Shut up,
Hobo
man. This
spiders
is
are
Australia.
all
Get
over
used
my
to it. Man, you're living here. The Americans has more balls than you do right now. Here's what a funnel web spider is, and this is what they're trying to
Yeah,
find, like,
fuck that. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
not good.
It's giving me the heebie-jeebies just
Yeah.
looking at that.
Oh yeah, that looks so mean.
Yeah, they
looks
are,
so
man.
mean.
And look at their webs. Their webs are actually sick. Yeah,
Looks so mean, dude.
They are.
Oh
Look-
yeah, that's
they-
like the spider from like The Hobbit.
it is.
Yeah,
And it is.
basically, yeah.
And the thing is,
Oh my
Sydney.
god.
It does. That thing looks.
Oh my
that thing
God.
wants some Smog's,
Yeah.
Smog's dinner, buddy. And that's the redback.
Yeah,
And that's the redback, man. That thing put my brother in the
But we have the
hospital.
opposite here. We have a
And that's the
Black
funnel
widow,
web
which is-
spider,
which
mate.
is
Look at
red
that
belly.
thing.
You have which one, sorry?
we have a what is it? Fuck, I was just saying it.
You had brown
Black Widow. Black Widow.
The Black
and it's-
Widow.
The Black Widow's got the same thing as your redback, but it's on its belly.
And that's a good, that's a
Isn't that
good, mate.
weird?
And it's also a sick.
Because you guys, isn't that
You gonna say?
that's so weird? Because you guys are in Australia and everything goes the other way.
Yeah, everything's topsy-turvy, mate.
Yeah, land down under. Everything's
I
opposite.
was gonna say, it's an amazing, that's a really good Alice Cooper song. You an Alice Cooper man, bro?
Your Black Widows. What did you say? Sorry.
That's a great Alice Cooper song, Black Widow.
Oh, I don't know that.
Do you Alice Cooper man?
I
or
know
no?
Alex Cooper, of course. I
Yeah.
don't listen to too much Alex Cooper, but I love him just because of Wayne's World.
That's sick. And we got the let's put up the good. Let's quickly.
Yeah, so actually, one of our guests has actually referred to us as being almost like Alice, bloody Wayne's
so if
World.
you look up on the guest cam right in the back, it's got Party Time Excellent.
Yeah, party time excellent on the right hand side there. If you can see
Oh,
that,
yeah, hell
like
yeah.
like
Yeah, I
Wayne's
saw
World.
Yeah, we're going all out, buddy.
Yeah, that's it. So anyway, back to the music and like the producing and stuff like that. So like, where do you kind of want to go with everything to in a way? Like, so you're producing music and you're trying to get everything out there. Well, I mean, you are getting out there. Well, no, actually, before we go into that as well. So where did you get the name SEDA as well? SEDA. Like, do you have a logo that you can pull up? Because last time when we were talking to you,
You were in
had-
the beanie that had
yeah,
the
you
hat.
were in that wearing that sick beanie with
That's
those.
sick beanie.
Yeah, like
Fucking
pull that up.
cool.
I have a few beanies, but
Yeah,
I
you
love-
do.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's like the Sega logo.
Sega.
In a
Wait,
way.
that's what we call, don't we call it Sega?
Yeah, well, Sega.
Yeah, they call it Sega over there.
Is that actually what you call it? Sega?
Sega, yeah,
Yeah.
Sega.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, we call it
That's what
Sega.
it says when you turn
Yeah, and then
turn it on. Wait, when you turn on your machine, when you hold on, when you turn your Sega on over in Australia, does it go Sega?
No, it actually doesn't. It goes Sega, but the Aussies still call it Sega anyway. They just
Well,
put-
we were discussing this the other night as well. Where it's like we technically call him JZ.
Yeah,
I mean,
JZ.
we did adopt it,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like it's not JZ. Like we
Yeah,
say Z, so
exactly.
JZ.
So when people first saw the first poster, if they never heard him never heard him rap or spit, it would have been they would have said JZ instead.
Yeah, exactly, not JZ. Yeah.
There you go, man.
But then, so with that, it's just like with your production and your music and like with SEDA, it's like where did the name actually originate from to an extent? Because didn't you say like you had I gotta stop
You had your
saying
mate.
I gotta stop saying that word to an extent.
To an
I
extent.
keep saying it.
Yeah, I did a little.
Did a little drawing or something.
It says to an extent at the bottom.
Oh, okay. But then like yeah, like how did that name come around? Because that's so unique. The actual SEDA.
I don't know what that means, bro. Do you mind explaining it to us?
Yeah, because
the history.
we've got this problem as
Yeah,
well
of
where a
course,
lot of
of
our
course.
DJs, they for some reason they take vowels out. I don't know why they,
Yeah,
you know, like
Yeah.
they
there's
do actually.
yeah,
I don't know,
there's a lot of DJs out
I'm
there.
looking at the board, and yeah, they actually that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, they just literally take out the A's, the E's, the
Yeah.
I's, the O's.
Black out. This legit be okay.
Yeah,
I personally don't like this is just like again my opinion, but I personally don't like taking the vowels out. I don't like doing that. I don't like turning the U's into V's.
Mm.
Do you like
I don't
turning
like,
do you like using
I don't like-
dollar signs instead of S?
I don't like any of that because it makes it harder for people to find me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, that is.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like I want something easy that people can be like, boop, boop, boop. You know what I mean? And like, and that's it. But like, that's kind of I kind of contradict myself there because if you Google like SEDA musician, you'll probably find like some Middle Eastern. But anyways, like, SEDA came from.
It came from your father
so I
speaking
was-
Farsi?
Yeah, well, that, but it was kind of like an evolution. I didn't at first. I said it wasn't my original name. Originally, it was uh, Myfo, which is Melt Your Face Off. That was my DJ name, like back in the day. And then like, there's still homies that like remember me back in the day, and they'll be like, "What's up, Myfo?" Like, oh my god. But like, that, and then it evolved into another name, and then I landed on SEDA when I started again, when I got into like production seriously, and I wanted to do this. Like, this is what I wanted. You know, this is my main thing. I was like, what should I? How can I tie this to myself? What should I do that like kind of means something to me? And you know, kind of isn't just like some obscure thing that sounds cool. And I'm a audiophile. You know, I love sound, and the Farsi word for sound is Seda, which is, my dad is Iranian, so his native tongue is Farsi, and it just kind of worked. And I was like, sweet, Seda means sound. You know what I mean? It's not like my name is just sound. You know what I mean? Like, because it's in a different language, so it worked better that way. And from there, it kind of evolved into what it is today with the video game thing, and it looks like the Sega logo and stuff like that, because it was like this really obscure, cool logo with like these, like, it was made out of wood, and there was like these three eyeballs, and then like it just kind of evolved into this like, where did I want to take my brand? Like, where did I started to think about it more. You know, I started to think about like what direction I wanted to head in, and what story did I want to tell. Like I said, it's important to have a narrative and a story. And so for people to grab onto, you know, and that's how I fell in the video game thing, and SEDA means sound, and it kind of looks like Sega, so it all just worked.
And then, so what is SEDA Heads as well? Because you invited me to a group where it's like it's got like 3,000 members or something like that, and it's just like all like-minded people sharing music knowledge and memes, from what I can gather as well.
Yeah, totally. SEDA Heads is something like, it's just a term that I kind of came up with, again, like brainstorming on my brand and where I wanted to take it. And I was like, okay, well, it would be cool for like to refer to the people that listen to my music, would be SEDA heads. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, what's up, SEDA? Like when I referred to them, I would, in posts, I would be like, what up, SEDA heads? I got a new release coming out, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I would use that term a lot. And I guess my friend Nikki, he lives in Los Angeles, California, and he just randomly made a SEDA heads group one day and invited me to it. And like,
Thank you? Question mark?
yeah, right. And like, well, I was just like, holy shit, because like I have been, you know, like a lot of producers, like producers that shouldn't have groups think about having groups. I didn't think that I should have a group at that point in time in my career. I was like, you know what I mean? I was thinking about it. You know what I mean? In my head, I was like, man, I should just get a group going and blah, 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 blah. But the other voice in my head was like, dude, you don't even have 1,000 followers on SoundCloud. What the fuck are you worrying about a group for? Don't even worry about it. And that's what I was doing. I was playing that game in my head, and I was just putting it off. I was going to wait until I was bigger. But then Nikki just started it. He just started it without, you know, me saying anything. And then he invited me to it, and it had momentum. And I invited my friends, and I communicated with people, and I was like, hey, we're just starting out. Can you guys invite some people? If everybody invites like 10 people, you know, there's 100 of us, that'll be 1,000. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, that's how it started, man. It started organically, and it became this awesome community, and like, you know, collective of people that get to share, you know, who they are, whether it's through music, whether it's through humor, whether it's through, you know, nature videos or geography videos, whatever the hell it is. Like, it's like people being able to share, you know, some of who they are, to an extent. You know what I mean? Like, we have like, you know, a process, you know what I mean, of letting content through, you know what I mean? Like, we want it to be quality, and you know what I mean, like based off of obviously our taste, because how else can you approve quality. So like there's a quality standard, there's a standard of whether it's going to be hateful or whether it's going to be hurting people or something like that. We don't, we try to steer clear the path of least resistance. I don't want to piss anybody off. I understand, people's feelings get hurt, people get upset, and I'd rather just stay away from all that and like have a fun, easygoing community of people that can just share ideas. Yeah,
because the thing is though, is like drama is just unnecessary sometimes. Like you don't drama never brings anybody up. It just brings people down.
It drains you of your energy.
Yeah, exactly. It drains you of your energy, and it's just a waste of time when people just have a cry or a whinge or do whatever. It's not worth it.
Let's boot up FL and let's get making music.
Yeah, wait, what?
Let's boot up FL and make music instead of
instead of just fighting each other on the internet and just having a whinge to an extent.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There was one thing also I wanted to bring up as well. Is like, I can't remember how we managed to go onto this topic last time when we were doing this, but you were saying like the best thing you can do, which I found so amazing when you said this, like if you're looking for a graphic designer or you're looking for someone to do artwork for you, you said like to go on like a festival and find like the small name or something like that. Can you go into that again?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Yeah, because that when you said that, I was just like blown away because that's innovation in a way. That's helping the small guy in a way to get bigger.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Just some experimental thinking.
What?
That's some experimental thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, it's outside the box. That's what I'm all about. Hell yeah. So like but finding my first logo, like when I became SEDA, I was like, so like there's a couple other things that I was told that you could do. You could go onto Instagram and find graphic designers that are just, like they're not just starting out, but they're good, but they don't have like a name for themselves. And you can do the same thing. You can just message them and reach out. So that's a really good method. And that's what I was told. But the route that I went, the one that you're talking about, is like you can go on to festival posters. If you go to whatever festival poster, let's just say Bass Canyon, or not Bass Canyon, those are all huge names. I don't know. Just go to a festival poster where they have like tiers of artists. The main artists will have their logos in their own font and everything. The second tier will be like medium size, but it'll just be all the same font. And then the lower tier will be smaller, but the same thing as the previous tier where it's all the same font. So those two tiers are where you want to look at, the medium and the smaller font tier. And you want to go through and find, artists that aren't super well known, because their artists are going to cost a lot of money. So you find artists that are kind of, maybe you don't even know who they are. You just Google them and look at their art and find like their logos and look at them. And like sometimes on their Facebooks or on their Soundclouds or whatever it is, you'll find they'll credit their artists. They'll say this person, artwork done by this person. And then you can just message that person. They usually link them, or you can just, search them in Facebook and you can message them and be like, hey, like I saw your art for, you did it for Sayer and I really loved it. I would love to get a logo done by you. I'm a musician as well, blah, 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 blah. And, that's what I did, at least with like, I didn't go on a festival lineup, but that's like a strategy that I came up with after I did this. But I thought of an artist that wasn't that big. In my head, I was like, well, who's not super huge at this time? Which Sayer has gotten really big. He has a collab with Rez and shit now. But like at the time, he wasn't that big. And I was like, oh, I love his artwork. Maybe I can find his artist. And I searched for his artist and stuff like that. But like then after I did that, I was like, oh, well, what would be a good idea would be just to go onto festival lineups. And it's also the same technique I use to find new music. So like if I'm looking for new music to DJ in a set, I do the same thing. I go to a festival lineup and I look for the tiniest people and I see what they're making.
But that's exactly it. That's the thing, is like they're small, but then they're going to get bigger, and hopefully they'll get bigger. And the music that they're making, it's just like, if they're just a small little name in the lineup, well, eventually they'll be the headliner, or they'll be quite up there.
Get those seeds planted now.
Yeah, exactly it. It's all about doing your research and helping the little guy in a way. Because I mean, let's be honest, like Diplo's just going to keep making money.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
Diplo's a cowboy, and that's how he is. He's just going to keep making money. It's just that's legit how it is. But being able to actually offer the little man help and try and like, not even guidance, just like, you know, pay for their work or buy their music or help them out in any way possible, because you got to make it a community. You have to, you know,
you have your own set of heads.
Yeah, that's it. You have to make your own set of heads. That's it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So there was another thing. We were also discussing as well, like, so with it being oversaturated over there, how does that work when trying to get gigs in a way? Because, like, you know, you were saying last time on Saturday, when, you know, it's like someone's going to do it cheaper and they're going to do it, you know, like paying for quality, but then being able to get the numbers through the door to an extent in a way.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
go on, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. I mean, you know, it's like, you know, as a club owner or a bar owner, they're looking at you as drink sales. You know, so like who are you gonna pull in the door? What demographic are they? How much are they gonna be drinking? You know, etc. So like if you have been playing, if you've been a DJ maybe for 10 years to the same crowd around here, you know, like in the United States, if you're a DJ, you know, your crowd, your demographic, the people that used to come to see you might not, like they might be older now. They might not be the most drinking people. They might not be the most, you know what I mean? Like they might be 28 now or 29 or 30 now or 35 or whatever the hell it is. And there's this new crowd that's waiting to come in, and maybe they have homies that DJ that they're watching at house parties instead of going to this club. You know what I mean? Like, because that's their, like, you know what I mean? Like they go to the same college, you know what I mean? Like they're that's going on here in Montana. There's this crew called Peach House, and they slam 18 to 21-year-old parties, like, you know what I mean? Because they're the college scene, and they go to college, and
that's it. It's the demographic,
and everybody knows them. You know what I mean? So exactly. So it's like the club owners and bars are going to want to have them throw shows at your clubs, and their DJs come in because they're catering to the people that drink the most and so forth, you know? And like, and so in a saturated market like that, you know, you need to stand out. How do you stand out? You make music that nobody else can make, because people will come just to see your music, and they'll come to drink and see your music, and pay for tickets and see your music. You know what I mean? Like it's two different scenes. You know, a bar scene is different than a stadium scene, or, you know, like a club, or like a big club scene. Like here, we have clubs that hold 5,000-10,000 people. You know what I mean? So it's not in Montana, but in the United States. You know, and so like it's just a different scene. Like if you're gonna have 5,000 or 10,000 people, like you can't just have like a bar night. You know what I mean? Like I guess you could, but
but it wouldn't be the same.
No, you need somebody to pack it in. You know, you need somebody that's going to sell tickets at, you know, $50 a pop, you know, 5,000 of them, and pack it in, you know, and like, that's just like the reality of it. And like, so if you want to do that, you got to stand out again. And if you're going to stand out, you got to do something that you got to show your value. You know what I mean? You got to demonstrate your value, and your value is your art, your music, you know, like, and well, I wouldn't want to say that it's your value, but I mean, like, that's like what you have to offer these club owners and these bars and things, because your music, if it's well received, will pull people in to buy their alcohol, and, you know, buy their tickets. So
I have to ask as well, because like we're getting close to the end mark, but I wanted to ask a few more things before we finish up. So what's the music scene actually like over there to an extent? Because, you know, like I was always told that, I think it was prior to 2010, country music was the biggest export in America, but now it's mumble rap. And bloody mumble rap kind of thing, right? But then how big is the dubstep scene as well, like the headbanger scene? Because Excision kind of took America by storm in a way, didn't he, when he did his tour with the 500,000 watt sound system or whatever the hell it was, where it's just like the biggest thing ever. And his visuals as well, where, you know, he has like the T-Rex that kind of like almost comes out of the screen in a way. It's just like, it's done so well. It's like, it's just one of a kind. But I mean, we're the land down under. We're Australia. We only get to see what we see on Facebook in a way, and like, you know, the research that we can actually go into. What actually, you know, from a first-hand perspective, in your opinion, what actually is it like, the club scene, the music scene, just everything over there to an extent?
It's really diverse. Like right now, like I mean, this is just from my perspective. I would definitely see like headbanging dubstep and stuff being like the largest, um, like of the scenes around here in America, throughout America. But like when you go to certain places, um, like Northern California is very experimental based. Like the crews that come out of there, Wormhole and a few other different crews, they like push that really obscure, like experimental based sound. But like it's just like different places have different vibes, and like the East Coast, for instance, has a very old school vibe. I mean, dubstep is still very present, but there's a lot of jungleists, and there's a lot of, and on the West Coast too. But I'm just saying, from where I used to live, there's a lot of house heads, a lot of hard style up in the Northeast, like New York and stuff. There's lots of like hardcore, hard style shit like that. It's very diverse. Excision, like he's definitely like pushed the bar, and like that's why so many people are getting into that heavy headbang dubstep, is because the experience is so beyond what most electronic shows are doing. The only people kind of coming close to it, I think, in my opinion, like the only festival I think that's coming close to like experience in a completely different way is like Wakan, where like Wakan does the weird bass music stuff, not the headbang stuff. But like Excision still is like way far ahead of that, because his festival, I don't know how many people it is, but I'm sure it's over like 50,000 people, like Lost. You know what I mean? Like, because I know Base Canyon is like 25,000 people, whereas Wakan, for example, is, I think it was under 10,000. So it's like there's, you can see right there like kind of how big one is compared to the other. But like I think Wakan is trying to head in that direction. I think Excision is pushing that as well, which is really cool, is that Excision is pushing the obscure shit too. Like Base Canyon, before it was canceled this past year, was going to have a whole second stage to showcase more experimental shit, to showcase like drum and bass and like different genres that aren't just headbanging dubstep, and some experimental shit on top of it, but some of the classic shit too, like I said, like drum and bass and shit. But I think everybody's seeing that because it's getting a little stale. I think the headbanging shit is getting a little bit stale, so people are wanting the weirder, obscure shit a little bit. Like again, last year at Base Canyon, they had a Wakan takeover. Wakan has been doing takeovers at every major festival in America, pretty much. I don't want to say every major festival, but they've been doing takeovers like all over the place, where like Liquid Stranger will come with a crew of Wakan artists, and for like an hour, 2 hours, they'll sit there and they'll rotate artists and play different Wakan shit. So I think it's like a joint effort. I think they're trying to usher in this like odder sound and stuff. I think that's where the scene is headed a little bit. It's going outside the box more, but dubstep is huge over here. Yeah, it's really big. I mean, ever since Skrillex, and then Excision again, like you said. At Lost Lands, I think it's 1,000,000 watts now.
Million watts. That's insane.
Watts. How many amperes is that?
That's the thing. Like that's what he's pushing for. He's pushing for the most thumpiest, bassiest sound system.
That man is putting
bass on the map.
He is, man, by taking out the lights in major cities.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, causing blackouts around the place, causing
rolling blackouts.
Yeah, rolling blackouts.
That's why California can't afford the electricity anymore. This man's taking awful. So.
Yeah, just have festivals that take all the power. So how big is the house and techno scene over there? Because like over here, we've had this influx of house and techno. Well, it's not a bad thing, but it's like, the past 5 years, 10 years, I would say it's been more electronic, more heavy. It's been drum and bass. Like drum and bass has been the biggest thing in Perth next to London, like biggest export next to London. London's number one, and then it's Perth, literally number second for drum and bass, and to an extent dubstep and the underground scene. But now we've had this influx of more houseier kind of techno stuff because it's just the East Coast and connecting whole of Australia together in a way. So with that, like, how actually big is the house and techno scene over there? Because, like, I mean, some people say that, Australia is like 7 years, 8 years behind America in a way, technology-wise, culture-wise, the whole lot. Well, maybe not culture-wise, but like, we're just
tech-wise.
Yeah, definitely technology-wise, we are behind. But it's like, it's just how it is, because we're just a small little island that some idiots don't even believe exist. But I am baffled that honestly, I am baffled that some people think that Australia does not exist.
There's a lot of people who can't put us on the map, and quite frankly,
well, that's it.
Who blames them?
Yeah, some people just can't even put us on the map. But it's baffling. It's people believe the world is flat, and then they believe that Australia doesn't even exist. But then with that, so with the house and techno scene, like, does it have its area? Does it have its niche over there, or is it quite hard to find places and stuff?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like house more so than techno, I think. But like techno, I mean, like it's funny because like I like techno a lot. And, like,
yeah, I'm a massive techno fan
as well. A lot
too.
Yeah, but like yeah, like I know way more house heads than techno heads. But like we have some really big house labels over here that are like Claude Von Stroke, his label, like Dirty Bird.
Yeah, Dirty Bird, Fool's Gold as well, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they have their own festival here. It's called Dirty Bird Camp Out, and like dude, there's so many festivals, and like it's but yeah, like the house scene is thriving. I think the house scene is like doing really well. Like I think again that a lot of these bigger dubstep guys are like even Code Pandorum on his last LP had a house track. Like it was a Code Pandorum house track, so it was like heavy and like kind of like dark and industrially and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, dude, like they like nobody wants to exclude anymore, and nobody wants to be pinned down. Like no artist. Excuse me. No artists want to be pinned down. Like like Getter is a great example where like Getter pinned himself into this bro step hole.
I can't believe that as well. Like that's the talk of it. Oh, sorry, you go.
I was gonna say when he released Visceral and he went on tour, he got booed off stage.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to bring up. I cannot believe that. That's appalling. That literally he goes and gets booked for somewhere, and then people are throwing shit at him and like booing him off stage, even though it's like it's Visceral. Like it literally says it's not Getter. It's his alter bloody ego DJ group. He's producer, but.
No. So like that's what happened. That was wrong. Is that he did release it under Getter. Like it was his album was called Visceral, and like he didn't rebrand, and he had pegged himself into this hole. It's like the opposite of what Sudden Death did. Sudden Death is sudden death. He makes melodic dubstep. It's just melodic as fuck, and like his counter, his other side is Void. And Void was a complete rebrand. It was Sudden Death presents Void. And Void is fucking dark rhythm. Like real dark rhythm. Like, so like that's how you correctly do it, if you're pegged into a hole. Because a lot of these DJs went that got big Sudden Death, I'm sure they weren't even thinking about that. They were just making the music they like, and it just kind of pegged them into a hole. But today you're having a lot of artists that don't want to get pegged into that hole, and they wanna create multi-genre music, but that still sounds like them. It doesn't sound like a different artist every time.
That still has their unique sound to it in a way. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And because like that, and that's where the experimental side of it comes in, and that's why I make experimental music, is because like I have musics that are really hip hop orientated. I have music that is really like dubstep orientated. I'm working on a tune now, and I have a remix, weekend remix, that is 55 beats per minute. Do you know what I mean? Like it's slow
55
as shit,
beats per minute. Holy shit, that would be so.
I think I wrote it in I think I wrote it in 110, but then I halftime the drums. Like like the snare hits like every you know what I mean? Like I can do whatever I want.
That's it. Yeah. So I was going to ask as well. So like obviously it's good not to get pegged down to that, but then like when you go out and send it to different labels and stuff like that, do you find that they won't get you on because it doesn't fit their niche? Or we were talking about this the other day where it's like cookie cutting in a way, where it's like it doesn't fit their cookie cutter kind of thing.
Yeah, like I think that it you have to know who you're sending your music to, and if you don't know, you have to ask the professional that will. You have to be like, hey, do you think if I sent this to this label that it would fit on there? And they can tell you like, no, I don't think so. I mean, like I don't think they're gonna fuck with this song. But I think like as long as you send it the right music to the right people, they'll be receptive of it. But we're moving into this self-release phase of being a producer, like to where you don't necessarily need a label. Like the labels are really great because they get you out to an audience that is you know what I mean, way bigger, and hopefully if they do everything right, it comes back to you and helps you grow as well. But like we're in a place where you don't necessarily need that. Like I know a lot of artists that again, a great example is G Jones. G Jones doesn't release on any fucking labels. He's released on like Saturate before and some other shit, but he self-releases all of his shit. I mean, he is big now and he can do that, but that's just what he does, because his music doesn't fit anywhere. His music is not going to fit on
Circus Records or anything.
Right, dude, or Disciple or Never Say Die or anything like that. Like now we have some more obscure, larger labels. Deadbeats is a really good example. Wakan is a really good example, where like these labels are big and they look for weird new shit. You know what I mean? Like so, and they don't have like Deadbeats is a really good example of that doesn't have like a cookie cutter thing. They'll release house music, they'll release electro, they'll release dubstep, they'll release experimental shit. EPROM just put a track out on Deadbeats. You know what I mean? Like it'll go from EPROM to you know, like a house artist. You know what I mean? Like so, it's all just who you're sending your music to and what the content is itself. And I think like, you know, if like what I'm doing is I'm building a team right now to where like when I self-release, I get maximum exposure. You know what I mean? That's at least my goal. You know, so when I release a track, I have a guy that will find playlists on Spotify for me to get into. You know, when I release a track, I have a guy that pitches to blogs, to YouTube channels, that pitches to, you know, to whoever, just to get it out there. You know what I mean? So like, and like this is all just forming in the last couple months. You know, this was over time, not forming, but finished. Like I have 4 people on my team now, and like 3 of them were just added in the past 2 months. You know, so like it's a slow thing, dude, and it comes together when it needs to come together. But it's yeah.
That's really cool though. It's awesome. So we're getting to our last 10 minutes as well. So I wanted to ask, like, where do you want to take all of this? What do you want to, you know, where do you want to go in the music scene in the next, like, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 years plus? Like, where would you be where you can say that you're happy in doing what you're doing within the music industry, and like what you're actually, you know, like what's the end goal to an extent?
I'm happy doing what I'm doing right now, but like my goals, my goals are like, I would love to be making a living full time just doing music. You know what I mean? Like I could just be releasing, you know, whatever it is. Like the fact of the matter is that it's a touring, you know, like profession, and like if there's no tours going on, then that's not realistic. So like that would be awesome, but honestly, I would be really happy making a living just teaching. You know what I mean? Like or being able to do music for other people to help them and get, you know what I mean, make my living that way. Like that's a goal of mine. You know what I mean? Like at least, but like I'm happy writing music. It's my favorite thing to do. Writing music like is a meditation for me. It lets me, you know, just like, so yeah, like I know that like if I keep doing what I'm doing, that the other shit will just fall into place. So like I'm kind of just focused on that. But like goals, I would just like to help people, you know, inspire them. Like I was saying, if I am touring in 5 years, if we have shows come back next year or the year after, and I can start touring in the next 5 years or something, then like, you know, I want to do what I said earlier that other artists have done for me, you know, like inspire people, like make people want to leave the show to go write music. You know what I mean? Or make people be like, you know what I mean? Like whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like just motivate people to like not like, I can't explain the feeling enough to where like you're sitting there and you're like partying with your friends. You're like, dude, I would much rather be home writing music. Like I would much rather, but I can't wait to. You know what I mean? Like I love partying with my friends and stuff, but like it would just like I'm watching this right now and I just want to create that feeling that they're creating so much. If I could do that for people in the next 5 years, if I could be an inspiration for people in the next 5 years, that's my goal. That's my biggest goal.
That's so good, though. I have to say that's so good, because you know some people are just like, oh, I just want to play around the world. I just want to do this. I just want to do that. But to be able to say, like, you know, like someone came watch my show and then they went home, started producing, and then they messaged me and it's like, you know, you're a massive inspiration. That's what you want. That's so good. because
Totally.
being a mentor to an extent, actually, helping others the way they helped you. That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's such a good thing. That's a really good thing to have, like a good trait. Because, like I said, some people, like, not so much Perth, but around the world, around Australia, where it's like they kind of treat it like a dog eat dog world, and they just want to try and get to the top. They want to push their way up to the top. They might help some people along their way, but they're just thinking about themselves. And like I said, I've had a good friend of mine tell me that, Diplo. Apparently Diplo's an absolute asshole. I mean, I'm on camera saying this, and I don't give a shit that I'm saying this on camera.
That's a very controversial take, bro. Hey, man, Diplo, who I'm never going to meet in my life, piece of shit. And I'm going to say it because no one else is willing to do it.
But that's it. Like, apparently he came to and played at Stereosonic, right?
That's right.
And when he played at Stereosonic, he was just like, you off stage, I'm going on stage. And it's like self-entitled piece of shit. But it's Diplo. Diplo's Diplo. Yeah. Diplo's a bloody cowboy. Yeah. That's how he is. So.
We also don't like I always like to try to step back from situations and be like, well, we don't know what the fuck was going on. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know what was going on with Diplo that day. Maybe his brother was shot earlier that morning.
Yeah.
Maybe you just don't know. It could be anything, and he could just be having like the worst fucking day ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that one instance might not be who or what he really acts or how he really acts like, you know what I mean? Like I try to look at it like that. When I hear something and I'm like, oh man, that guy's probably an asshole. I've heard that this person's an asshole. If a bunch of people are saying it and he's like that all the time, then he's probably an asshole.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
But you never know. Like everybody's.
Well, that's exactly it.
Good days.
Yeah, because it is one of those things. Like, unless you get like it's like a second, third hand, fourth hand, like perspective, or you meet the person 5 or 6 times, and he's like, no, he's just an asshole. But it could have been that. Maybe his brother was shot that day or something.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know what Diplo gets up to.
Yeah, well, who knows what Diplo gets up to?
He makes music with Riff Raff and Andy Milonakis. Andy Milonakis. That's what he gets up to.
Yeah. I have no idea who those two people are, but
do you like Andy Milonakis, bro?
That's a weird crew. No.
Yeah. What are they called again? Oh fuck, what are they called? 3 Loco.
3 Loco.
3 Loco. That was it. That's 3 Loco.
Okay. Well, we've got our 5 random questions that we do at the end of the episode as well. Damo, do you know?
I got some.
You got some?
Actually, we got a couple.
Yeah. Okay, go for it.
All right, bro. What's your opinion on Andy Milonakis? Was he really big back in the day? Is he still big in America? I don't know him from like old school on TV.
Can you pull him up?
Yeah, I think he got big on the Man Show or something like that, or I can't remember. But like, I have homies that fucked with him a lot, but I didn't find his humor to be very funny. Me personally,
yeah.
You know what I'm really, really, really in love with lately is Auntie Donna. Do you guys know them?
Yeah, of course we know Auntie Donna. Have you met her?
I've never heard of Auntie Donna.
The Australian.
No,
well, you should be. Everyone just fucking shame this cunt.
Oh, I can't believe you.
Can't believe this guy.
Yeah, I'm Australian. I don't even know these Australians. So who are these?
They have a new show on Netflix, and they're like sketch comedy.
Yeah, it's Auntie Donna. They're like huge.
And they make like really dope electronic music. Whoever makes music for their show is really good. Like they make like really dope music throughout the show, and they do songs, and it's funny. It's definitely not for everybody, but.
Who actually? Let's look up. There's actually a few of them.
Mark Bonanno.
Yeah, Bonanno. Yeah, he's the big one. There you go.
Okay.
And Auntie Donna's Big Old House of Fun. That was that's the title of it.
Do you have any more questions?
I do actually. We got a couple more. I was thinking about this earlier. So when you talking about like producing and whatnot. We were talking about producing and whatnot, and we were talking about how you basically wanted to be the guy on the stage, the entertainer, more or less. That's what got you into DJing, and then you fell away from that and fell into sort of meditative state, doing production for yourself. Do you find that? Did you like really? Do you think that's such a negative thing though? Because everyone wants to be an entertainer. Everyone wants to be sort of the center stage.
Yeah, the guy on stage.
The guy on stage, yeah. Like, is there still a part of you that still has that to an extent?
I think anything that derives from the ego, like, is typically negative. You know what I mean? And like the ego likes to cause suffering, and so like you putting yourself on a pedestal and being like, I want to be the guy on stage. Once you're the guy on stage, you might feel empty. You know, like you might. There's a lot of different things you could go different ways, but it's just not for me. It's not a fulfilling thing. It's a hollow thing. Like you'll see, like after being, I mean, like I don't know, like a lot of that motivation is key. You know what I mean? Like why you want to do something. Like, do you want to make music that like is going to inspire people and make them feel something? You know what I mean? Do something, whether it's going to create or wanting to be the dude on stage. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you want to inspire somebody to be a rock star, which is cool and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing negative about it. But like, is that for me? I just look at it as like, do I want to inspire somebody to like go out there and he wants to be the next, you know, Rolling Stones, or do I want to inspire somebody to go out there and be like, you know, the next Beethoven? You know what I mean? Like, or somebody like that. Their music is so timeless and it makes them feel something so, you know, profound that it's like, whoa, you know. But I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know, like I've only been doing this for 2.5 years.
But like, well, you're still professional, though.
Yeah, and that's just how my thought process on it was. I had to dig deep and be like, why? Like I asked myself, why do I want to do this? And again, like I had a mentor like tell me one time when I was writing a song, and he was like, it just sounds like you're trying to sound cool. It sounds like you're trying to sound like other people are trying to like be the guy. You know, and that made me think about like what I was writing for. Am I writing to be the guy? Do I want to write just so people tell me my music is awesome? No. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to write music to gas up my ego. I don't want to write music for people to sit there and tell me how amazing I am and how this and this and that. Like, I don't give a fuck about that. Like, I want to write music to make people go do that. Like, be like, oh, I want to go out here and I want to fucking write music. I want to write something awesome and continue that chain of inspiration, you know? And like, that's like the guy on stage thing for me. And I just see it a lot too, like with like some of my producing peers, they're worried that, and what I mean by this is like they're more worried about spending money on new CDJs rather than paying for one-on-one lessons with artists and creating relationships with them and perfecting their craft, because they want to be the guy on stage. They want to get those CDJs so they can learn how to be the guy on stage so that they can get up there and play in front of 500 people. But like, it's not lasting. That's not lasting. And you're going to quickly see that like, while you can DJ other people's music for 500 people and over again, that person, that, you know, whoever it is, and I hate to use this person as an example now, but Bass Nectar was huge, or whoever, whether it's Liquid Stranger or Excision or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, those people are captivating people with an experience, you know what I mean? Not because they're just up there to you know what I mean? Like,
they're not just up there pressing buttons, basically. They've got a whole thing behind them to be able to make their show what it actually
narrative.
is. Yeah, right. A narrative, yeah. Right. All right, well, question 3. Would you ever move to another part of the world to, like, you know, say if you got signed to a label and they were like, okay, well, we want you to move over to, I don't know, England. Would you ever do anything like that to try and help further your career at all?
Yeah, sure. And I'd love to travel. And if the fact of the matter is, I live in the best place for electronic music, in my opinion.
Oh, is that right?
As far as like economy wise, like how I can make money with music, because there's so many venues and there's so many places you can play shows, and the touring circuit here is so big. You know, like, I don't tour, but I'm just saying, if there was any place to tour other than the entire world, you know what I mean? Like, other than the entire world, like the United States is where a lot of my artist friends that are from out of the country are trying to come. They're trying to get their US tours. You know what I mean? Like, my homies in England are like, dude, I'm trying to get this US tour. I'm trying to get this US tour, you know? So like, luckily I live there, but if somebody told me that there was a massive tour in fucking China or a massive tour in Europe or some shit, fuck yeah, I'd do it. If they were like, we want you to tour, and yeah. But I just don't see it happening. But if somebody was like, we want you to move here and make music, like, I'm not really sure why that would happen, but if somebody was like, we want you to move to Egypt and make music and we'll pay you a bunch of money, I might do it. Yeah.
Well, I just got to say, though, quickly as well, I mean, I wouldn't move to China anytime soon. Winnie the Pooh will bloody harvest your organs and make you disappear.
Like
the
Falun Dafa.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not maybe in 10 years or something like that. But you know, the CCP is a pretty big thing at the moment.
Not going anywhere.
Like, I don't know
I
what what news you see, but apparently we're chewing gum on the bottom of their shoe. That's what they called us, and they didn't even acknowledge Taiwan as a place.
They still don't.
No, they literally just think it's China. They think Taiwan is China.
The people of China is completely separate from their
their government.
Regime that's running the government. You know, like because I get I just know that there's a lot of Chinese people that enjoy music like you and I do, and I'm sure there would be some massive tours around China if it was a cooler place. You know, like my dad's from Iran. It's the same thing. Like, you know, like the people that run Iran are fucking awful. Like they're extremist religious assholes. And like, but the people, like when I went over there, are amazing. Dude.
Yeah.
They're amazing. Like,
similar
it's just
thing.
a beautiful country and the people are amazing.
Like I've been to Hong Kong. I've actually been to China 4 times because my parents have owned a business, import-export business. And going to Hong Kong is just beautiful. Absolutely amazing place.
Dude, fuck yeah.
And the people there are amazing as well. But then it's just like, it's just always busy. It's always go, go, go. There's no stopping. At 3 a.m. in the morning, there are still people going to and from work, no matter what. It's just, it's such a business, big, full-on country and city and the whole lot. Damo, did you say that you have a question for?
I do have a question for you, yes.
Yeah, and then we got one more.
we got one more. Basically, shit, man. Have you found that connecting with such a wide range, whatnot, has that actually said this before? You want to make really timeless music. You find that these sort of trends, you're talking about house and techno, and really from an outsider's perspective, I don't even know what this is. How can you create really timeless art when there's such niche genres? I think we were talking about this before. Like there's the nicheness.
Like being outside the box too, man.
No. We're talking about how these niche genres become so niche that they do create their own, exactly like that. They create their own boxes, but they also create some extreme gatekeeping, and with that, it sort of stagnates these groups. So you get a new wave genre. Like you're getting like new wave, like the genre from the 80s, but now where became almost a parody of itself. Do you find that to create timeless art like now, how tricky would it be, especially with something as fickle as the internet, and with such niche genres becoming more and more such boxed in with such narrow parameters? Like you said, you gotta try and think outside the box, or how do you go about creating timeless art, I guess?
We'll make that question 4 and 5.
Go ahead.
That's 4. Well, sorry, we're gonna say we'll make that question 4 and 5.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on in that statement, I think.
Yeah, no, I think that it is definitely hard to make more timeless music because there's a lot more options. I do think that like pushing boundaries and again keeping in mind that because I hear a lot of people be like, oh, I wanna make a track like this person, I want to write music like this person. Like stop doing that. Like stop like trying to write music like Excision, or like, oh, I love Midnight Tyrannosaurus, I'm gonna write music like him, or like just go into your if you want to make something I think that stands out and like people that are gonna remember, just go in there with a clean slate, like in your mind, like and on your DAW as well, and just create something. Just let it flow, create something different. Like let it come out without thinking, oh man, what would be cool here is one of those big Excision basses or one of those big whatever. Like just fucking let it come out, and you know what I mean. I think that will help people stand out and like maybe become more timeless. I don't know how to make a timeless tune. Like I don't think any of my music is timeless yet. You know what I mean? Like, but like, that's for me, it's a goal. Like, you want your music to be able to like resonate with a multitude of people. And right now I think that my music is kind of niche, like you're saying. And like that, like there's going to be a group of people that love it, but there's going to be a large group of people that don't get it at all, So like, I don't know if I'm ever going to make something timeless. I don't know if that's ever a thing for me. I think these niches that are big ones, like this, like, like if something sounds like Never Say Die, and like, it's on Never Say Die, it just kind of sounds the same. Like it all sounds like Never Say Die. And like that has prevented people from, or it has made the scene stagnant You know what I mean? I think like that, like having that gatekeeping going on is like what it's doing is making shit sound the same, and like that's just like how you know, like it's the same thing with rock and roll. Like you have all these rock and roll stars that push the boundaries, and then you have generic rock. You know, like you have generic rock that's just like radio rock and roll that like is just mundane. You know, while people do like it and there's a market for it, there's nothing that stands out about it. You know, a lot of one-hit wonders, they might have a timeless one-hit wonder, but a lot of their other shit is mundane and it's generic, which is why they were one-hit wonders. You know, like, so not being generic and not being mundane and thinking outside the box, like you're saying, and all of that will help, I think, make your music more noticeable and timeless, or however, whatever you want to call it. Because if you're jumping into production and you want to write music, like if I went in there and I was like, I want to write music like G Jones, and I tried to make G Jones music, I know artists that do that. They sound a lot like G Jones, and I'm like, and now I could recognize it and be like, that's kind of like, to me, in my opinion, it's kind of whack. Like, you should write some shit that sounds like you know what I mean? Like, write some shit that nobody's ever heard before, that when they listen to it, they're like, oh, fuck, you know?
Yeah. That's a
I
great...
hope that answered your question.
It did. No, absolutely did. Thank you so much for that. That was a great answer.
Oh, yeah, that was a great answer. So we got to wrap this up now, because we've been going for almost 2 hours. But, I mean, this is season 1. This is the finale. This has been a great episode. I'm so happy we actually recorded and sorted this one out, and the computers, the cameras did not crash.
Yeah.
Like on Sunday morning at 4 a.m. in the morning kind of thing. So what the viewers might have missed as well is that we tried to tee this up, and then
we got halfway.
We got 50 minutes into an hour and 40 minutes, and then it kind of crashed, and we just kept going and kept rolling with it, and
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it. I thought it was still recording the audio. It turns out it wasn't. It's a shame.
But still, right. Well, to put it back on the other camera, on both cameras, right?
Actually, that's a good point.
Because we're going to do this now, where I have to say thank you so much, SEDA, for coming on. Like, this has been so good. Yeah, Reza, like, you're a lad, I have to say. Like, you're definitely coming on next year. Without a doubt, you're coming on next year. I cannot wait to get you back on. And so what we're doing as well is that everyone on the board there, so all of our guests for season 1, I have to say, thank you so much. I want to read out all of, most of them. So thank you so much for, like, Brooke, Triplet, like, you know, Josh Gannon, bloody Mitch for helping me do this whole thing, bloody Hugh Marsh, you know, Sub Era, Josh, Ned, and Mark, Liquid Culture DJs, Jason Stone, Joel Ivy, Ben Nicholson, fucking everybody, Big Pink. I can't believe we got the owner of a nightclub on. We got Bex on to, like, promote her new music, the Lana Del Rey of Perth. I can't believe that. Mind Electric, Christian, the local legend who's gone to bloody Las Vegas and back and played all around the world. Grizzly, good old Grizzly, he absolutely rocks out almost every set. Amazing DJ. Endorse, literally the king of visual arts in Perth. Like, to be able to go up there and do the best VJ set I've ever seen in Western Australia. Big shout outs to him. Lizard, you know, Lizzie just moving through the ranks and getting up there. Shroom doing, you know, making music on house, like making some of the coolest house music I've heard in the local scene. You know, like Matt. We've had everybody. Brandon Willington with, you know, his institute and like getting an insight into that and like, you know, being an absolute rock star and how to survive. Charlie Pope, like Charlie coming on and talking about the video editing and just like, you know, just everything about that. Genga, finding out what an actual Genga is. You know, getting Maxine to come on and actually do like a little live, like video, do a little live singing for us. Like, so good. Getting like Robbie as well, Bertie, to come on and actually like talk about her art and like how everything goes through that. Shannon, talking about, you know, DJ Shan and like Streamline Perth. Just thank you so much. And also Liquid Culture DJs, Chris and Pixie. I don't know if I said them before, but amazing. Absolute power couple. Dan, I got to do a shout out to Dan Dwyer as well. Yeah, absolute lad. Such a good dude. Jason Stone, everybody. Boston Switch, Blake. Thank you so much, everybody on that board that has helped make season 1 what season 1 is. Like, this has just been an absolute ride, and I cannot wait for season 2. And with season 2, what we're going to be doing is the people on that board, we're going to pair them up with a new guest, someone that's just entering the scene, so we can have an experienced person and someone that's just wanting to break out. And then that way we can actually get an insight into, you know, just into whatever we're going to talk about. Just a freestyle chat, a freestyle live stream chat where we can just talk about music in Perth and the world and entertainment and culture and hospitality.
We get someone who's looking out from the outside and someone who's looking out from the inside.
That's exactly it.
What we get.
So I just have to do that shout out because
absolutely,
thank you so much to all the guests that have come on. I cannot believe that this is even the Pachamama crew. Shout out to them. Like, just being able to do this and just try and do something different outside of the box and do something so unique. That is just, it's like Joe Rogan, but it's not Joe Rogan.
No, it's the Australian. It's the Bogan Rogan.
It's the Bogan Rogan. That's it. We are the Bogans, and we are also the Rogans.
Yeah.
So I have to just say thank you so much. And Reza, thank you so much for being our season 1 finale. Like, this has just been so good. Like,
thank you guys for having me on, dude. I appreciate it.
You have to send me a picture of what your signature looks like so I can try and copy it and put it on the board.
Yeah.
Because I want to put it on the board somewhere big and thick writing just for you. Because then that way you are our first American. We had Ben on in the Bogan Rogan, but that's a different. That's a different
series, completely different series.
Yeah, exactly, completely different series. This is one of a kind. So, thank you so much for coming on, and I can't wait to get you back on next year and to pair you up with someone else, and like, hopefully we can get some of your friends on next year, and like we can actually like really go into, you know, the American nightlife and the culture and. You know, just different states and different cities and different vibes and different tunes. So, thank you so much.
You're getting sick from all the love, bro.
Oh, it's
That's
just
adorable. No,
it's just late nights, and partying and drinking too much.
Getting to me too.
Just the life of a rock star. Well, that's what you gotta do. Like, I mean, I'm a DJ, so I gotta be a party boy. Like, I gotta drink.
You gotta party.
No, it's just how it is. So thank you so much, Reza. This has just been an absolute.
Yeah, dude.
This has been great. This has been so good. Just to get an insight into all of this, and it's just. This is beautiful.
It's been a beautiful ride. Shit.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
It's fun every night.
You guys gonna cry now.
I think we're just crying from relief because we've been working hard and we've been doing some real late nights, and it's finally paying off, and it feels great to be in a room like this where we really have been putting up blood, sweat, and tears, and one Mitch really as well.
That's the last shout out I want to do. The last shout out I want to do is that without Mitchell Robinson, we wouldn't be doing this.
Damn right.
Without him being by my side, helping me do the cameras and helping me run this whole entire show, we would not be sitting here with these bloody spotlights shining on my face.
Yeah.
Just trying
blinding us.
Yeah, blinding us. Absolutely blinding us. Without his knowledge, we wouldn't be doing this. And he's, in my opinion, he's the big ginger teddy bear. He's a good friend, and the biggest shout out to Mitch. So thank you everybody for coming on for season 1, and thank you for just tuning in. Anyone, you know, the people that have joined us for this ride, the people that have liked and shared and subscribed and done everything to be able to make this what this is. I mean, we've got like 600 likes on Facebook now. It's been a year.
It's been a year.
Like, we're climbing. It's great.
It feels good. It feels recognition. Feels amazing. Can't say anything.
Yeah.
Recognition feels good.
This is just. I'm just so happy with everything that this has become, and I can't wait to get huge artists on next year, and then just to help out the local scene and just really try and make, you know, just give people a voice, because it's like what I've said to the guests, like when we're off camera, it's like part of the reason why I started this. I really wanted to start doing this because, you know, if people would try and do Facebook live streams with their music, or they'll try and promote their music or their mixes. But then to try and get people to listen to their mixes, it's so hard because no one really wants to, you know, well, people do. Of course people do. But to like really try and go, hey, bro, listen to my mix. It's fire. It's lit. It's like,
they were being that guy. And unfortunately, you had to be that guy to be like, shoving into someone's face.
We'll shove it down their throat sometimes.
But that's not what this is. This is them. This is us presenting their personality and shoving that down people's throats. People love that.
We are that's what we're doing. We're creating a community.
We're creating context.
We're creating content and context and entertainment and nightlife and hospitality and culture within Perth. And I cannot wait for the future.
Yeah, right.
So with that, I want to sign off. And once again, thank you so much, Reza. This has just been so good. Yeah. This has just been absolutely amazing.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So this is episode 57, and this is me signing off, Alex. And this is Damo, my new co-host, my new Jamie, because Mitch wants to take time off.
But he's still here.
Yeah,
he's
Mitch,
here in spirit, and
that's it. Mitch is actually running the backgrounds. I was so worried for a period of time because I thought he was completely leaving. Yeah. He didn't want to leave. He likes us too much. So
but he's caught the Bogan Rogan, the stink. The stench is on him, and he can't wash it off.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he's got it tattooed on him.
Yeah, right. We're gonna brand him with it.
He's just running things behind the scenes now. He's still part of the crew. He's still part of the family. And with that, yeah, I'm so happy I can't wait. I cannot wait to see what the future holds. Thank you, everybody. Honestly, this has just been such a wild, wild ride. And the knowledge that we've learned from all this, the things that we've managed to do, the things that we've talked about, the things we've learned. This is so good. I just keep rambling on.
No. There's so much love. There's too much love.
There's too much love. All right, we're wrapping it up. This is episode 57 of the Infrared podcast. And we will see you next year with probably a very big opening guest. And once it's going to be good.
They started off with a bang.
They're going to start off with an absolute bang. And I cannot wait to get more huge guests on and get new kids on and just create this scene.
Absolutely.
So
with that, I'm sorry, please finish.
I was just going to say, with
that, let's do it together. Yeah, that was with that. Anything you want to plug, SEDA, friends, anything like that.
Anything you want us to plug? Sorry for just ranting.
No worries. Shout out to all my homies at Defire, Octobit, Omas, all of my homies. The entire Defire crew is a great crew. If you guys are looking for mentorship or you're looking for some help with your production, definitely look up the Fire Society, or you can hit me up personally. Just shoot me a message on Facebook or wherever in any of my socials. The only other thing I want to say is I got a track coming out on the 11th. It's a remix for my homie Code Pandorum, and it'll be available on all platforms. And yeah, look out for it on the 11th. If you guys come out and join the SEDA Heads group, just a request to join, and I'll add you guys, and I give updates there and pre-save links and things like that, so you guys can get it first.
Yeah. Well, once we wrap things up as well, we'll actually
we'll post the necessary links.
Yeah. We'll post all of your links, like your Twitter, your SoundCloud, your the audio one as well. Like, we'll post absolutely everything because I want to help promote you as much as I can. It's all about lending a helping hand. And like I said, your music is amazing. And the visuals with your music are amazing as well. Like, everything you're doing over in Montana is so cool.
Dude, Montana's a cool state. It's cooler when the state is doing this thing.
Yeah, that's it. So this is episode 57. And let's wrap it up. Thank you so much, Reza. Thank you so much, Damo.
Thank you guys.
And yeah, we'll see you next year. We'll see you halfway through January or at the end of January. We haven't made our mind up yet.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, yeah.
We'll let the proper time come.
Yeah, that's it.
And with that, you wave first, SEDA.
Yeah, you gotta wave.
Damn right.
Yeah.
All right, well.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Let's do it, man.
Thank you so much. Yep. All right.
Otherwise, we'll be all night. Man.
Yeah, well, you can run the ending credits. All right, yeah, wave. Okay, yeah. End of season 1. We'll see you next year.
Gotcha.
All right, catch ya. Then run the ending. Yep.